Hello, welcome to Mindset to Results. And today our guest is Faith Scott-Vokes. She is mother of two amazing, beautiful girls and CEO of Virtuoso EA. Hi, Faith.
Hey, thank you for inviting me onto your show podcast. It's really good to be here, Elena.
Thank you for coming. And we both are mothers of our beautiful girls.
Yeah,
And today, I think it is good if we just share our conversation, which can be very useful for those driven mothers who are ambitious, who want to create results and success in their business and career and have their children. And it is not always that everything happens as we want. And let's discuss situation how we can be good mothers, how we can really care about our children and give them the best.
absolutely. Yeah. And as soon as you say that, it brings to mind the one word that is so important, and that's always going to be consistency, right? From us as mothers, to consistently show up and speak the same language as they do. Listening is imperative as well. What do you think?
Yes, consistency in having values and helping our children to grow with those values, I think, is important, and to teach them to live from within and know who they are, what their values are, and also help them to see what their genius is. I think that important from early ages to help children to look for the best in themselves and find out their strength. I remember how my daughter was so small, and every time she was climbing somewhere, I always were giving her push, just giving her this feeling of victory. I was
Yeah.
just helping, just putting my hands to be to get her to that achieve their goal. And this is how I was helping her to be goal oriented, and this is how she started thinking big, and how she was achieving her goals. Everything that she wanted, she just was going for that, getting that, and celebrating her victories. And it
Yeah,
all started from very early age.
yeah. I think I've got two daughters. There are 6 years between my two daughters. And my eldest daughter, she was just naturally gifted. She could pick up a tennis racket and play. She could just all, she skiing on the when we used to take her ice skating, amazing. A natural talented gifted dancer. She was in the English youth ballet, and to see her perform, you would have thought that she had oodles of confidence. She ticked all the right boxes, but what we didn't realize underneath that was, in actual fact, with all the praise and everything we were giving her, and we sent her to a super primary school where we live, that caters for the whole child, so they allow the child to be who they want to be, and I'm a great believer in that. But we didn't realize underneath that she didn't feel confident. She was always saying that she was struggling at school, but we'd speak to her teachers and they'd say, oh, she's doing great and she's super to have in the class. And we were quite concerned at this point, and we realized that what is there something we're doing wrong? Are our expectations of her too high? Obviously her dad's got his own business, and I've always been a career girl, so I've always worked. And it wasn't until she was 14 that we actually got to the bottom of it, where she didn't want to go to school, she didn't feel that she was achieving, that we realized that we need to take a step back here. We need to change something. And maybe we weren't listening as closely to what was really going on there. And I think Elena, too, that as a mum, you look inwards first, don't you, to see what can I change, what can I do. And yeah, what do you think?
Yes, I think that we all are part of the system, and this system, through repetition, makes us think the certain way. And
Mm,
I would say, like, people are conditioned, and sometimes they even don't understand that they just like robots, and they just can say that you should go because you want to go to college, you should have good marks and good. And sometimes it is like I tell from my experience, of course,
Yeah.
like sometimes it felt like it is like you are in the car and you just go by this momentum,
Yeah.
and something is breaking, but you still just going because you
Keep
already get
going
the speed. And
to
something
tick the
is
next box.
breaking and saying just slow down, this is like something needs your care, but
Mhm.
because of that speed and your focus somewhere else, sometimes it takes time to
Yeah,
understand that it is time just to stop and just think differently, thinking out of the box.
absolutely.
Because sometimes when we just so driven and we want good for us, we want good for children, that we might even not understand that something is going wrong, that our children really needs us.
Yeah,
Because is if this situation, as you mentioned, that when they just say that I don't want to go to school, and this is exactly what happened with my daughter. She said I can't go. And it was for a while that every evening she thought that next day she will go to school.
yeah,
We
of
were
course.
getting her clothes, prepare everything, like everything ready. And I had that hope that tomorrow, okay, are we going tomorrow? Yes, we go. And in the next morning I just couldn't woken
Yeah,
her up.
yeah,
And initially it was so hard because when you are like, I have two master degrees, right? I speak four languages. I saw like I'm always
yeah,
somewhere in the sky.
yeah,
Of course, I see my daughter there. And for me, it took time to disconnect, actually go into school and still be there,
yeah,
because the
absolutely.
system put in our minds that this is only the way, and sometimes we are so much in this direction that we
Hmm.
don't even understand that it is not only the way. There are so
That's
many
right.
different ways, and every child is unique. And if something
Absolutely.
even happens that she doesn't feel going to school, initially I was telling that you should go, you you have to do GCSEs, this is the only
Yes.
way. You don't get how you go into college, nobody takes you, you need to go
Mhm.
document, like this is what I was telling. But she said I can't, let's find, there should be another way. And
Absolutely.
initially I said, what is the way, what the way, like college needs documents. And it took me time. Then I started thinking there should be the way. It should, but even there is like if I don't see the way now, it will be way actually, because
Absolutely.
yes, that I just started disconnecting these two different things, success and school, because it
Absolutely.
took time for me, yes, really to
Yeah, yeah,
understand that.
you think they're linked, and yeah, I completely agree. But what we learn with what I learned with my daughter was just listening, understanding. I constantly say to her, stay in your lane and don't look sideways. I say it all the time. I mean, she's in her third year of becoming a midwife now. She's done incredibly well. I'm in awe of her because of the path that she's chosen. And it is one of passion. It's not definitely not in it for the money. And I look at her and I think she's worked so hard, but she's gone at her own pace. She took a year out. She then started to do a degree that she wasn't happy with, and she said, "Mum, I can't do this. It's not what I want to do." And I said, there's no race. There's no race. I mean, I do
Mhm.
believe by the time you're 28, you should have your passion. We've talked about this, haven't we? About finding your passion, and if you can find that from an early age, when mental health's not good and things are down, like Summer had her dancing, it's like a different world. They can just forget and move on. And I think with patience, a heap of patience, and not being channeled into this, like you say, this car that just keeps on moving. you must achieve here, and then you go on to achieve here, and just saying, listen, when you're ready, you can do this if you choose to do this. If you don't, it's okay. It's okay. You know, your mental health is more important. And I know some very high achievers at a very young age that blew it all up in their 30s and started again. So, you know, it's not a race. It's about doing what's right for you at that time. And I think maybe as parents, we lead by example, right? And they look at us. I mean, I've always been a career girl, so I went back to work after 3 and 4 months with both my daughters, and maybe they've looked at me sometimes and thought, we need to be like mum, we need to go to work. And I think that's exhausting for anybody, because at a young age to think, oh my god, I'm going to be like mum and juggle a career and home life, it's impossible. Well, it's not impossible, it's doable, but it's hard. It's really hard. And I think they shouldn't look to us, and they shouldn't have to try to be the same as us, Elena. They need to be their own people at their own pace, you know. And I don't care if, you know, one of the girls was to go and work anywhere or do anything, as long as they can sustain their lifestyle and just be happy and want to get out of bed in the morning. Eventually, when they stop being teenagers, right, and sleeping all day, that they can actually think, you know what, I'm really passionate about this and I'm going to do it. Then job done for me. That's how I feel.
Yes, yes, exactly. I think that at this time, with our children go through some hormonal changes like
Yeah,
teenagers, they grow, their body needs. So it is important to support them, and that they feel as parents, and they look at us as place where they can get support.
and be
Because
safe.
yes, because
Yeah,
if they don't get support from us, there is nobody else,
yeah.
and this is what gives them confidence.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, my mum's a great believer in you mustn't be friends with your children. And I, to a certain degree, sort of disagree with that a little bit, because if you don't know your children, you don't know the friendship groups or what's going on at school or the teachers or anything, how are you going to know how to support them? Because you're only going to be supporting half the child, and that's the half that they decide to share with you because they think that's what's appropriate. So yeah.
Yeah, right. So thank you very much, Faith, for sharing your ideas. And it was really good to exchange this perception and help parents to be present with their children and be that source of support for them.
Yeah, you're
And
very welcome.
yeah, yes, so we will speak again soon.
Lovely to see you. Take good care, and thank you again. Bye for now.
Bye.